before.
Today we're back on the Appalachian Trail, hiking from the Bake Oven Knob all the way down toward the Lehigh River. It may be close to 50 degrees on paper, but with the wind gusts hitting 40 miles an hour, it feels more like the upper 20s. Blue skies, big puffy clouds, and a ridge that's getting rocked by the wind. Perfect conditions for an adventure. And as always, yes, I'm wearing shorts. This section of trail has some amazing history, rugged geology, and a few surprises I didn't expect. So let's hit the trail and see what today brings.
Hey guys, hopefully you can hear me. I'll apologize now for the wind. We're back up here on the AT, hiking from Bake Oven Knob all the way out to Lehigh Gap. So we'll see some interesting sights along the way. It is incredibly windy. Temps are nice, about 50 degrees, just shy of 50 degrees. But they're calling for a wind advisory. The winds have potential to be blowing around 40 miles an hour today, so it should make our trip rather interesting. You guys can hear it, I'm sure. It's really blowing these trees around, kind of making me a little nervous. But all right, so let's continue on heading up. Oh yeah, I forgot, I have a guest. Kirk, the Keystone Explorer, is also with me. He was just over checking out some rocks. I didn't hear you come up behind me. So there's Kirk right there. He was just checking out this rock outcropping right here. I don't know if he got any views. You guys will have to check out his video for that. And we'll continue on. And they've been sponsoring a hawk watch up here since 1963.
Really?
And this year, I think now we might be at the 4th highest.
Up to Bake Oven is short, but don't let that fool you. It's rocky, it's exposed, and it's the perfect warm-up for what's ahead. A little scrambling here and there. Nothing difficult, but enough to get the legs warmed up. At the top, we took a few moments to enjoy the view and had a really informative chat with Greg, a volunteer with Hawk Mountain's Hawk Watch and the caretaker at the Lehigh Gap Nature Center. Greg gave us some great insight into the ridge conditions, including that crews had cut through several downed trees just the day before. With the winds we were getting, I understood why.
So if you're not familiar with the area up here, Bake Oven Knob is one of the high points along this section of the AT. And it is a very technical climb down, back down off of Bake Oven, heading north, which is the direction we're heading today. Now we got into a little bit of more forgiving trail here, just in time, because you guys can kind of see all the little ankle breakers along the trail here. And from what I remember, this is like this whole section of trail. There's not much hanging on back here for color, with the exception of a few ferns that we passed, little bits of grass here and there. That's about it.
Before heading deeper along the ridge, we stopped at the Bake Oven Knob Shelter, one of the original Appalachian Trail shelters here in Pennsylvania. If you love the AT history, this one definitely hits you with that old school charm. From there, Keystone Explorer and I continued along the trail, scrambling down boulders but sliding off a few ledges and following the AT across its famous ankle breaker terrain. This is classic Pennsylvania, uneven jagged rocks that never quite let your feet rest. The wind up here was insane. The treetops were swaying harder than I've ever seen. Whole
Oh,
crowns
hey,
of
dude.
trees rocking back and forth. You could hear them creaking, bending, groaning. It added to the wild atmosphere of this entire hike.
It's really good night here.
Porcupine spray. Uh-oh.
This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of the originals. What are some trails you plan on hiking? Easy part. Uh-huh. It was nice while it lasted. Yeah. I don't see anything fun either. Alright, so we're about 3 miles in, and the wind just died down a little bit. Give me a chance to talk a little bit to you guys. So the section of trail that we're on runs from Bake Oven Knob down to the Lehigh Gap. It is very rocky. It's not a difficult section, but it's definitely more of a moderate hike. It's up and down, not a lot. Like your elevation doesn't change a whole lot. But when you do go down, it's mostly rock face that you're climbing down, so it takes a little bit of skill to get up and down. Nothing too super technical, but there are some technical aspects of, you know, the climb or the descent down. Seeing some rubbings on the trees and passing through some of the Blue Mountain Eagle Club sections that they maintain, and here comes that wind again. So there's a rock formation off to my right. I'm hoping the trail takes us up there. I'm trying to stick on the trail today. Kurt's just a little bit up ahead of me. He's a much faster hiker than I am. He's in much better shape, much better shape than I am. But that's why I'm out here. Here comes that wind. Hey, there's your truck.
We passed a few campsites along the ridge, though most were pretty rocky. Oddly, we didn't see much wildlife besides a few birds. With the wind roaring across the ridge, I can't say I blame anything for hiding today. Once we approached the Lehigh Furnace Gap area, the trail turned back into a boulder field. No surprise there, and the scrambling picked up again.
That was a pretty cool section of trail. So it's mostly what we've been going through. I know Pennsylvania has a nickname, Rocksylvania, and this is definitely a section that's known for those rocks, those little ankle breakers. So we're just coming up on the Ashfield Road, and then we're going to cross over the Ashfield Road and continue on into the Lehigh Gap section. It's been kind of non-eventful. Not much foliage on the trees left at all. The trail is very well marked though, so continue on.
Climb after Ashfield Road takes you into this beautiful pine forest. Soft ground, pine needles everywhere, quieter, darker, and almost sheltered from the wind. The terrain goes from rock hard to cushion soft almost instantly. It's wild how differently this side of the gap feels. There were several nice campsites tucked into the pines, and the trail itself was narrow in some areas but surprisingly smooth in others. Now here's the funny part. I hiked through this section in 2013 and I barely recognized any of it. Turns out the trail was rerouted since then. The old AT followed what is now Blue Blaze, right along the ridge with some incredible views. Views I remember photographing back then. But all trails sent us on this bypass route, which misses those overlooks. Still a gorgeous trail, just different.
Wind is really making it difficult to video. I feel like every time I go to video anything, the wind kicks up. You guys probably can't hear anything I'm saying. So we're beginning to get onto the side near the Superfund site, basically crossing over top of the turnpike, or we will be crossing over the turnpike in a few minutes. It's really kind of difficult to tell when you cross over, because I don't think there's any markings, or there wasn't any markings last time I came through, which was many years ago, 2013. Let's see if I can find any pictures. I know I have a lot from the other side of the Lehigh Gap. Just coming into our first little bit of views. You guys should see that already. So there is a sign that actually denotes that we're on top of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Pretty cool. Kirk says we're on top of the southbound lane. So, I don't remember that sign being there the last time I hiked through here. But with this wind, like Kirk was saying, it might not be there for very long. Well, the whole mood of the trail on this side is different. Yeah. Although every now and then I think I see a snowflake. So we're actually on the bypass trail right now. The trail that we selected on all trails took us down the bypass instead of staying on the old AT. Not really sure why, routing us around it. So it says we'll meet back up with the AT in about 1.5 miles. Take my good old time. Try to enjoy the trail as much as possible. Going for the week.
Even though it was just after 3 p.m., the sun was already dropping fast. Sundown was a little after 4 o'clock, and you could really feel the day slipping away. The shadows stretched long across the trail, and that cold wind that had been hammering the ridge all afternoon suddenly felt even sharper. We reached a posted notice announcing the AT reroute, a reminder of just how much this area is constantly being restored and maintained. From there, we dropped off the ridge and followed the Lehigh Gap Nature Center's Woodpecker Trail. Just after the Otter Bridge shelter, we encountered another hiker. This is the only time in the 8 miles that we saw another hiker. A woman and her young son were climbing up the boulders as we descended. The little guy was smiling ear to ear. Nothing beats seeing kids out on the trail, getting hooked on nature early. The trail wound us through a mix of open scrub and recovering forest. The kind of terrain that reminds you of how wild and rugged this gap really is. As we descended, the wind finally eased up, and the last bit of daylight lit the mountainside in that soft golden glow. A perfect way to finish the hike as we made our way back down to the car.
Alright, so beginning our descent down into the Lehigh Gap area. From I'm off the top of the mountain. Still have a few miles to go yet, and been slow going. A lot of rocks. We just took a little bit of a break at the Otter Bridge or Otten Bridge shelter, and my feet are thankful. Kind of got that thought in my head, like time to get home and get something to eat. It's like somebody had some blueberries. I think they're blueberries. So we must be having some bear issues up here as well. There is a bear box back at this one, and a sign that said about the bear activity being high in the area. I kind of remember seeing something about the bear activity on this trail. So we're climbing down pretty steadily now, back toward the gap, into the Lehigh Gap toward Slatington, and a couple miles, like I said. We actually just turned off of the trail that All Trails was recommending. There's a reroute down here. They're rerouting the Appalachian Trail in this section. So we are actually going to turn off onto the Woodpecker Trail, and that should take us back into the Lehigh Gap Nature Center's parking lot, which is where we have our other vehicle parked. So if you guys haven't seen the other videos on the Lehigh Gap Nature Center, this is actually a former, well, it is a Superfund site, and years ago this area was completely polluted by, I think, the New Jersey Zinc Company out of Palmer, and both sides of the Lehigh Gap are continuing like a revitalization. So they had to go through and find the right kind of grasses, the right kind of trees they could plant to help to speed that up, or to allow that to actually happen. So it's a pretty fascinating story. It is a beautiful area now. A few years ago, if you would have hiked back here, when I hiked back here, that side of the mountain, the side with the beautiful overlook, and this side up a little bit from where we are today, was pretty much a moonscape. It didn't look much like it does now. Everything was kind of dead. And I mean, everything is going dormant now for the winter, but it's much different today than it was years ago. Right, so you see the caboose parked over there, the other side of the bridge. This is the way we came off. This is the Woodpecker Trail off of the Appalachian Trail down into the Lehigh Gap Nature Center, which is right there, and then the Lehigh River in 248. And we are just about back to the car, and then we'll shuttle back up to the other car back at Bake Oven. Kind of an uneventful hike. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this. I'm not even sure if you guys can hear me right now, but this wind has been pretty much consistent all day long. So even up, especially up on the ridge, you guys are probably just going to get a lot of voiceover. I'll apologize now, even though it's actually the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been a fun hike. I think we're somewhere around 8-9 miles. Should have been closer to 10, I believe, if we would have came down the other way, but only because we would have had to backtrack on the D&L to get back to the car. So it's a great hike, guys. Make sure you check out Keystone Explorer, and I'll give you guys a little bit better of an outro in a few seconds. But this wind is crazy. It is starting to cool down pretty good. Alright guys, well, that's gonna about do it. Headed back now down the hill from Bake Oven, and on my way back to my house. My feet are sore, my heart is happy. Anytime you get out on a trail, sometimes I just need it. We'll just put it that way and leave it at that. But thank you guys for coming along with me. I apologize for the wind. The wind is pretty crazy today. I think they're calling for gusts again around 40 miles an hour. And it definitely felt it up there. So I looked at my phone, the feels like says 28, 27, something like that. It didn't feel that bad. My hands are a little cold. be very honest, my feet are sore. Those rocks did a number on my feet today. But beautiful section of trail. I don't like the bypass, but that was the way All Trail sent us. And ultimately we ended up getting onto the Woodpecker Trail and heading back to the Lehigh Gap Nature Center, which is where we parked the other vehicle. So with that said, we will be getting back out and doing that loop. Probably gonna do that section of the Appalachian Trail. Maybe we'll do a loop from the Lehigh Gap Nature Center out to L&E, up top to the AT, and then come back down, you know, the opposite side. Or maybe we'll just come back up, do the South Mountain side. There's a lot of trails back there yet that can still be hiked. I hiked a lot of those trails years ago, and it was way before my YouTube days, but I'll happily go back up there for you guys and hit those trails. So on our way back to the house, gonna grab something to eat, rest my feet, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys as always for coming along with me, and remember, if you can't get out on your own, it's an honor to have you guys with me, and I greatly appreciate you guys, more than I probably let on. But we'll see you in the next video, and I hope you guys have a great day.
And that wraps up this windy, rocky, beautiful section of the Appalachian Trail. From the Bake Oven Shelter to the pine forest of the Lehigh Furnace Gap, this hike had everything. History, geology, ridge views, and of course, plenty of Pennsylvania rocks. If you enjoyed tagging along, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. There's plenty more to come. Hiking, backpacking, camping, and all things outdoors, we're just getting started. And remember, I'm not lost, I'm exploring.